Mr. Brown.
What is going on? 1 week late, but we're back.
But we're back. We apologize to the people who tune in on the regular basis. Some unintended consequences came up, or rather, yes. Some unforeseen circumstances. We just had to take a week break for the week, but we are here. We are back on it, and we are glad to be back. It felt weird, I tell you, man. It felt weird.
Right.
It's like that 1 week without having a conversation with you. I was like, what? What's happening? I'm a bit all over the place. I've got all these things that I need to get out of me, and I can't get them out of me. I didn't get them out of me.
Oh man, I apologize because this one's on me for sure. Just one of those weeks, man. We've talked about it on the podcast before where shit just comes up, hits the fan, and you've got to be like, oh, what do I do now? Like there's so many plates spinning, and you just have to make a call, right? You have to make a call and be like, oh, I have to do this because this has to get done. This doesn't get done. That won't get done. You're just like trying to make out the best case scenario. And unfortunately, this week, man, we couldn't sit down and talk. But now we're back. And G's gonna have. I'll just give the floor to you and be like, G, do your thing, man. Do your thing. That's
do my thing.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. What do I do, man? What do I do now? It's like you put me on the spot. It's like when you say to a comedian, say something funny.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I do now?
Quick.
Make me laugh quick. Dance, monkey, dance.
No, but it is good to be back. Your pre-podcast, I almost forgot how to do this. I was like, oh shit, I'm out of practice now. What should my name be? How should I put the camera on? All this stuff. I'm just like, okay, right, chill out. Been 1 week, and it's been up in the air, but now we're back to routine. I'm sat on the edge of my bed. I've got a nice bright yellow t-shirt on. I've got a clean shave, and we're good.
Sick t-shirt, man.
This is a Primark special, bro. Primark special. Shout out to Primark. Thank you for providing the cheapest clothing options known to man. And I'm a sucker for bargains, so here we are.
simple tea. Hey, it does the job, man.
Simple tea for a simple man. That's it.
Exactly. What, bro? All right. Here's where I think we should start, because last week I was itching to chat to you about Tenet because I'd finally watched it after the conversation from previous week, and then I think that's part of it. It didn't happen. I was like, fuck. It's like Tenet. It's happened. I've seen it. We're supposed to chat. It's on my mind. Exactly, man. But yeah, I went down. I watched it. Yeah. What did you think?
I thought you were about to just bust into a 20-minute spiel about it. Okay. I enjoyed the film. What the film was. That's the first thing I want to say. I had a good time at the cinemas. Not been in the cinemas in a long time, obviously, because of lockdown, COVID. Went to Leicester Cinema Deluxe. Sat in a nice comfy chair with my brother-in-law, and we had a great time. Past that, I thought. So staying on the positives, I thought the dialogue was so cool. I thought the way the people were snapping back and forth. I think the first time I'd seen that kind of dialogue and really appreciated it for what it was in Inception, when you had scenes of Tom Hardy and you had scenes of Leonardo DiCaprio and Ken Watanabe and like all these other guys just kind of going back and forth, and they're kind of like it's quick and it's fast and it's funny and it's cool. It's just legit. That there was elements of that in this film, which I really enjoyed. And it's a really like pretty film. Like that's something that I didn't really kind of pick up on before, like watching movie reviews and they kind of talk about the landscapes and this, that, and whatever. So touching on a few positives there, I enjoyed that stuff. I'm going to shoot it back to you because we keep it general. And then we can go deep. So you go, bro. What was the initial thoughts?
Initial thought. Oh man, I mean, like, oh, bro. Well, first of all, I'm always excited to see one of his movies, right? Because he's like Nolan is a dude that you wait for his movies to come out, basically, and when they come out, you go see them. It is like for me, there's just no other question about it, because he's like he makes you interested in the technical side of filmmaking. He's good at telling a story. The pace of his movies are never off point generally. Everything you always want to pay attention to what's going on. And he always weaves together like some complex human as well as physics, like tenets, and concepts and stuff together, and really makes you think about that kind of stuff. So I was super pumped to go see it, and then and he just covered all those bases basically. You walk in, when the first scene started, you're thrown in at the deep end again. You're just like, what the hell is going on? And he just forces you to pay attention throughout the whole movie, which I quite like. There's so many movies where you can just zone out. It's funny though. I was chatting about it with Son and Mo yesterday. Son was like, he kept zoning in and out because he's like, yeah, I don't get what's going on right now, so I'm just gonna switch off for a bit and then I'll just come back into the movie. So there's the opposite effect as well, where it's like, okay, this is a bit complicated, or it feels like it's a bit confusing, but and then you just zone out from it. For me, I was just like, my was just,
try to hold on.
Yeah, just try to hold on, and but still enjoying the movie as a spectacle as well, because he's talking to the audience when because the protagonist is the audience as well. You don't he doesn't know what the hell's unfolding. He's figuring out as he goes along. He only really knows what's going on right at the end, which is basically when everybody else is supposed to figure out, right? And then the scientist at the beginning, when he's speaking to her and she's like, don't try and understand it, just feel it. And he's just telling us is basically, I'm not going to give you anything. Here's some concepts. You can go figure it out for yourself afterwards if you want. But, here's just enjoy the movie as well. Don't try and get too bogged down by the confusing elements of it. And then when they're about to go into the battle scene at the end as well, where Ives, he turns to protagonist as well. He's like, mate, if you're still thinking in linear terms, you shouldn't be going on this mission with me. And I was like, fuck, that's me. I'm still thinking in linear terms. Like, oh, okay, I need to get myself out of this place. And it was great. So he's he's addressing the audience throughout the whole movie as well, which he's excellent at doing. And making just you feel part of the whole journey. You just it's an experience. You just spend a lot of time thinking about that film as well, man, and be like, I think this is what's happening. Yes. But I don't know unless I actually spoke to him.
Yeah. That's really interesting, man. I like what you said about Sully. Like you feel part of the journey, and that's what Sully. You're just like, I don't need this. I paid for my prize admission. I'm gonna enjoy my popcorn and have a good time. Yeah. That's it. This is just too much for an afternoon of switching off, because you definitely don't switch off. It's kind of like while you were talking. That was a really great breakdown, by the way, because I've talked to my brother-in-law about it. I talked to a few other people about it, and no one had a succinct way of saying what you just said, which was, you're not meant to get it, really. You're meant to experience it. You're meant to just be there, watch this spectacle unfold, and see, oh shit, look, stuff goes backwards now. Okay, how? I don't know. Just going backwards. Let's just enjoy it. Okay, cool. But then the intuitive side of us, the one that isn't okay with not knowing, is just trying to latch and be like, oh, is there a connection with this? And am I trying? Oh, I've missed something. Oh, what was that about? Oh, what did he say? How did that unfold? Yeah. And it was almost like, while you were talking, it made the analogy in my mind of talking to a really clever person, somebody who just gets it, and you're just being exposed to this concept for the first time. It's straight away, you're just like, oh no, I don't know anything. Damn. Oh, but what about this? And it was I can see Son's take on the film, because at times I felt a bit fed up. I felt a little bit like, did he need to go backwards there? Was that need to happen? Are we just gimmicking this right now? Is it just another gear shift in Fast and the Furious? Does that have? Do you know what I mean? Kind of.
I can't believe you just compared a Nolan movie to Fast and Furious, man.
It's off the dome. If it's just being done for the sake of being done, then I'm just like, okay, cool. We're in 11th year. What the hell's going on here? But it's but then you look at it and you think, oh, okay, well, this guy, like you said, he's just trying to put on a spectacle, and whether it is or isn't needed, it's just part of the story. So just take it as is. And I like the way you broke it down, man. I like the way you broke it down. I think just going back to what I said earlier about being kind of general on the surface, it was just a fun film. It was a fun film that I think you said this to me when we were chatting, that it's never been done before, and this is kind of the first time that this has kind of been attempted. So it's like the first time doing a cartwheel, right? You're not going to get it right. You're not going to figure it out straight away, but you're going to do a cartwheel. It's going to be a thing, and then along the way you'll figure it out. So I mean, it was fun. It was a fun movie experience for sure.
Yeah. See, I think with him, right, is there's nothing is wasted. So whenever something happens in the movie, there's a point to it, and it's almost. And I think in a lot of ways, I think whatever speculation that fans might come out with, I think he's already kind of got that covered. He's just like that. You just get the sense that he kind of basically knows exactly what the story is supposed to be, and he's looked at it from all the angles that people could possibly look at it. And there's nothing that's ever wasted. Especially like Tenet was, I feel like every bit had a point for sure.
And I think that my reference back to Fast and the Furious was the proof that I didn't get it. So I was almost going back to a thing that was like comfort for me. Like, oh, this is just this is just kind of happening for some reason. Like, I'm okay with it happening. But it was like you're saying, there is a nuance, and it's almost like I can relate it back to Shallows in a way. Like we study on pre-script, right? And you'll have these when we talk about these throwaway lines, and it's like, that's the thing. That throwaway line that you just kind of reeled off in 3 words was the whole point of everything you've just seen. So, the whole point of all that explanation, it breaks down into those 3 words, and now you get it. But that was kind of happening on screen with explosions and car chases and flipping, and like this tall bird who's just really attractive. Which was just like, wow, this is really cool. And I was like, okay, then there's a whole film around it. And I was like, wow, okay, this is very interesting.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was good. It was like, because when you started with it, you was like, okay, let me just start with the positives. Like, what were the negatives for you?
What were the negatives? You mentioned pacing earlier, and I thought it was, you know how you described. I think this is, again, your breakdown. This is brilliant. You should do a movie review thing, bro. You legit you should break off and just do that.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a little segment.
Yeah, why not? The way the protagonist was kind of piecing it together made me feel like, well, if you don't know what's going on, how am I going to know what's going on? You know what I mean? Kind of like push me out a little bit. Like, okay, he's figuring it out, and I wanted a bit more of a latch. Whether that's like I'm too dumb to get this, which I'm fine with, right? Like, but I feel like I needed a bit more of a. Here's a spoon. I'll put there. You go.
Okay.
I feel like I needed a bit more of that rather than kind of like just hang on for dear life and maybe you get it. If you don't, see you later.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, interesting.
It's probably quite a fundamental thing about the film because it is the film I'm talking about right now. But it was very full on. You know what I mean? Very full on, which is cool because that's what he was going for. And again, like I said, it's the first time doing it, but maybe a bit more kind of patting on the head and being like, "It's okay, you'll be fine." Like this is just reassurance that yes, this is complicated, but you know what I mean. Like even with the dialogue, sometimes the dialogue that was trying to break it down was almost seemed a little bit overly complicated for what it was trying to do. It's like if I'm trying to break something down for you, I'm probably going to use the simplest terms possible. However, the way they tried to break it down was just like, I'm more confused now. Like you've answered no questions, and you've made me think of more. You've answered nothing. You made me think of more questions, and I'm just like, but I forgot my initial question, but I have 3 more questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, perfect.
That's
like learning something as well. Like Shallow will do the same thing. He'll drop you some knowledge, and you're like, wait, that's going to make me ask some more questions now. I've got to ask more questions. I ain't got any answers for that. I'm going to ask more questions just to figure out the answer. That's like, I think in this movie. So say for example with Inception, there's a lot of exposition where he's explaining stuff, but he has to, but he's done it in the best possible way you can do that with. Because I prefer 100% show, not tell. Like there's too many movies where they just tell you what's going on, and you're just like, you didn't have to do that. That's just negated the point of the scene. You should have just fucking had a narrator instead, then, right? But with Inception, because of the high level concepts that he's got and he's exploring, he had to in a way, and do that in a way where you can. It's just basically the best possible way it's done. Like, he brings in a character where he has to explain certain things to them. The rest of them know what's going on, but this one character, Ariadne, doesn't. And he's explaining stuff to her, which you're learning along in the way. And that's cool, but that's the best way it can possibly be done. Whereas with Tenet, he just went, I'm not explaining anything. I'm just going to give you the bare bones. And if you're interested in it, you can look it up. And if not, at least you're here and you can still enjoy the movie for what it is. Because like, even with like the beginning scene, the opera scene, it was so immersive. Just the sound, and then like the sound and the way it throws you in, and like you can see on the protagonist's face the way he's looking around, and it's just you're just like, wait, what the hell's going on? There's so many things going on all at once, and you just know you're in for a ride, basically, from that point of view. And And then so he does like the dialogue is like in that sense it's as simple as it can be, even though it makes us ask more questions. And
yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I like the
Mm.
comparison to Ariadne in Inception, because like
Mm.
the way you said that the protagonist is also the audience.
Mm.
That's the case, like you said, for Inception as well. But then he brings in this person. This person is the jump man. This person is the timer man. This person is the you know what I mean. They all have their set roles, and you're like, okay, I've seen movies before where this is the premise, so I know that guy is the funny, cracky jokes guy. But when it's time, he's gonna pop the trigger, and it's all gonna kick off, and he's gonna say the throwaway line. Cool, I have something to go off of. Whereas in this film, it was like, what? Like,
so it's completely new. You got nothing to go off of. That's cool as well. That's what I really like about it as well.
You've got to appreciate that.
Because for me, it's like because that's another thing that's going to bog us down, is just the idea of time travel as well, like what we've seen it be in movies historically, but he's inverting time. It's not time travel, and so it's like it just leaves you confused. So we keep thinking about it in like, oh, this person jumped from one place to the next. Like, no, that's not even what's happening. This is all one timeline. This is like, his future is still playing itself out, even though he's traveling backwards, like things like that. So it messes with us because of our also what we've seen before with that kind of thing, right? And so we got nothing to go on in that sense. You're absolutely right. It's like there's just they've got nothing to go on. So you're just like, all right, wait.
It's like you've been to cinemas before. You've sat down in a chair before. You've had this salty popcorn, sweet popcorn before. Sweet, definitely not solid. Sweet. Let's make that point.
Ain't good none of that salty shit.
Sit your ass over there. Keep your bucket to yourself, right? But it's like jits, isn't it? It's like, do it on the right side. Oh, you can guard pass. The left side, you're like, oh, I fell over. Like, what the hell? How's that work? And it's the same format. Like, I should be understanding these characters. I've seen him before. I know what he's saying. He's speaking English, but I feel a bit dumb, and that. But that's again, like, that's okay, because I want to watch it again. And I want to be able to be like, oh, okay, that's what's happening here, and that's what's happening there, and like just what you said there about it's not time travel. That only clicked for me I think like 2-3 days ago, and it's almost like, just think of it as the motion is different, but it's still the same time. You know what I mean? The motion of what's happening. And then it kind of you again, that hook that you want to originally have, you can kind of form it yourself now. So it's almost more gratifying sometimes to go away being like, oh, I don't understand that, but then really be like, okay, but I want to come back and learn more. You know what I mean? That's the same as anything like interesting, complex, and intricate that you learn. When you get it down, it's so much more sweet. You know what I mean? So it's probably one of those movies that you watch it a couple of times and it will just improve, because you'll be like, oh shit, and then you remember the ending and you're like, oh, okay, this is so cool. Like this guy's legit. You know what I mean? Like this is Nolan like flexing the whole way through the film, being like, this is what I got in my locker. You know what I mean? You weren't even ready for this. Think Inception was bad? Check this out.
Exactly.
Man.
Exactly, so man. Fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun as well. What did you say?
Yeah, I was like, who did you go with? Did you go with Sam? Did you go with mates?
Yeah. So actually, I did it twice. I went with my housemates, and I went with Sam and a couple other friends as well. So I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to do this twice. I knew I was going to do it twice before I even saw the movie. I was like, because for every, like, say, Memento, Prestige, Inception, I mean, as soon as those movies finished, I just wanted to watch them again immediately. And I knew this was going to probably be in that same ilk, where it's just, I'm gonna finish the movie and I'm gonna be like, yep, I didn't understand a lot of it. That's cool. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna piece some stuff together, because I like figuring out what he's trying to do as well. So and I just knew I was gonna watch it again. And
I had that feeling with Dark Knight. I had that feeling with Dark Knight. Like as soon as you watch the first one, especially the second one. I remember watching the second one, I think 2 days after I watched it the first time, I went back and watched it again. And I was just like, because it's just legit. Like the cinematography and everything was just so attractive about the film. And man, I respect. I need to go and get in, because it's definitely not one of them films you want to watch at home just for the spectacle of it. You want to go to the cinema. You want to actually be entertained. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he always makes it. He always makes it for the cinema. He's like, this is where it's supposed to be viewed. And it was the same with Dark Knight as well. I remember we booked IMAX tickets, and then we also booked regular cinema tickets as well, because we just knew, like, we were going to want to watch it in IMAX because that movie is made for IMAX as well. But I just didn't get a chance to do it in IMAX this time around.
Next time, bro. Next time. Yeah, man. No, that was an experience for sure. And to think about when I can find time to watch pretty Prestige, man. I mean, as soon as we finished the podcast last time, I was like, okay, I need to put some time away. And just we started the podcast talking about how I'm a week late. Everything got in the way, and I was legit sat in my car yesterday, being like, "Should I go inside and watch it now?" It's like 9:30 p.m. I like to be up in the morning early to crack on. And I was like, "No time. I want to sit down and just crack it off in one viewing and just take it all in." But I'll get it done. Then we'll review that as well.
Exactly, right. Because like you're gonna watch that. If the experience is anything like mine as well, you're just gonna be pretty buzzed because you can watch that movie over and over and over again and pick up something new, and that's what's really cool about it. But yeah, man. So yeah, don't do it before right before you want to go to bed or something.
No,
because you might be a little bit buzzed, especially if you're like, oh man, I gotta wake up tomorrow. And like, should I watch this? Like, no, don't do that. Don't ask yourself any questions. Just be ready to watch the film. I'll be like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I caught up with some friends. I went to Go Ape yesterday in Battersea Park.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was pretty jokes. Also pretty fucking stressful, but it was pretty jokes. Yeah. It's just like, you're like 30 meters up in the air and you're like, you're on a harness and it's fine, but you're just doing an obstacle course up in this freaking sky basically. And, it was amazing. You get 3 rounds of it as well. And it gets harder as you go along. And I was like, got to finish the second one and a bunch of us was like, oh, I'm done. I'm just it's not that it's not fun, it's fucking stressful at the same time, man. Because it's just this weird thing of like, you might be on a harness but you're 30 meters up in the air and you just think, yeah, all right, this is kind of scary, and like, you're on dodgy ground and stuff like that. And anyway, it's not even ground, you're just basically on like these trapeze type things going on and just creating an obstacle. And that just made me think. I was like, okay, maybe that's my age showing now, man. It's like I wouldn't have given a shit a little while ago, but no, it was still good. It was a bit of a workout, and it was interesting. But so and I caught up with a friend, and like he still hasn't seen Inception.
Oh,
what? And I was like, shit, you haven't seen Inception? I was like, all right. I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the movie except just watch it. And it's like, and I was like, don't think about how long it is, and don't think about the fact that you're going to be thinking about the movie, because you already know to expect that. You're just going to have to sit down and just turn it on and just watch the movie. Otherwise, you're just going to keep putting it off. It's just one of those where it's like, oh, it's 2.5 hours and I'm going to think about it. It's like, yeah, if you keep saying that, you're just going to put it off.
I'm with you. But on Inception, I don't know whether I'm just kind of thinking about myself here, but was there that much thinking required? Because it's like dream within a dream. Okay, cool. That's it. I mean, like it's and then obviously planting the idea and everything else. It didn't really seem that not far fetched, but not like it was
impossible to get, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But there's there's still like there's still aspects of it, I think, which like you can think about because of the whole. It's because it's told to you throughout the movie as well. It's like, okay, you're in real time, and if you go down, that it's like it's an hour, then it's a week, and then it's 10 years or whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But so if you're trying to keep track of that, and you're trying to think, wait, which sequence are they in? Whose dream are they in? How, like, if you're trying to keep track of that, that can be a little bit tricky, right? Because you get down to the stage where they're in the snow, and in like whatever region of Siberia or wherever they end up in, you're like, how many levels down deep am I? Whose dream am I in? How does the idea get planted? All that kind of stuff is like starting to come up, and you're just like, all right, well, I just got to enjoy it as well, and then come back to it. And then obviously the way it ends as well. There's things about that, because there's something that's key that's in when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character Arthur explains to Ariadne about the totem. And he's like, the weight of for him is the weight of his diet. No one else could know it, because otherwise it defeats the purpose. And he says to her, he goes, that's your way of knowing that you're not in someone else's dream. And so when it finishes, it almost like, and the totem keeps spinning. It almost doesn't matter whether it stays up or not. He could either be in his own dream, or it could still be in someone else's dream, because it doesn't say that you're not in a dream if it stops spinning. And it's like, but that's something that is almost like it doesn't get picked up on. And but if like when you watch it again, you hear that piece, it's like, oh, he's saying you're not in someone else's dream. If you take it word for word, that means that even if it stops spinning, that doesn't mean he's not in his own dream. So the whole movie finishes, he could still be in a dream, right?
Okay.
Even if it dropped. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you can still watch it back and pick up something new from it.
Yeah.
And there's something to think about. And yeah, so if my boy Hard is gonna watch this episode, I'm gonna have to tell him to blank out the last 5 minutes, man. Because he's I just ruined Inception for him completely.
Dad, don't need to watch it anymore, Hard. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You're done. You're fine.
Good, just told you everything about it. Yeah, man.
Exactly, man. But yeah, again, that's what I appreciate. I appreciate the experience that Nolan puts on for fans, even if people are, oh, it's confusing. Like, there's been a bunch of reviews of like it's overly complicated or whatever. I was like, yeah, but he's making you think, which is more than what a lot of other movies do, and it's still put on a hell of a spectacle. So just appreciate it, man. It's like there's one side of people. There's one side where it's like, yeah, movies are just too dumbed down these days, and then you get.
We were talking about that, weren't we?
Yeah, exactly. With like what Rampage or whatever that movie was.
Yeah.
But then there's the flip side where it's like, people might be saying, oh, now that's too complicated. It's like, well, which way do you want it? It's like you can have it. You can have it either way. You can don't complain about it either way. Basically, if it's like one side is too dumbed down, one side is like, yeah, we need it a bit more clever, and then you get it, and you're like, oh no, it's too confusing. Even though it's still like the whole story still makes sense. It's all told like on a linear timeline if we're thinking about Tenet. But yeah, it's just interesting times for movies like that. But yeah, man, what's the week been saying for you? Like before we started, you just you just let out a big sigh. So I'm like, tell me, man, what the hell's been happening?
It's a sigh. There's a sigh of genuinely first time since we last spoke that I've just sat down and been like, let me just have a conversation with somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's been full on. Been full on in a very good way. No complaining, no nothing, but just recanting events. Like, it's been going at a fair pace. Thankfully, business wise, it's picking up a lot. I think the week of our last podcast was the busiest week I had this year as a PT, and then the following week kicked the pants out of that week, and then last week kicked the pants out of both of them. And we're just like, oh, okay, this is great, this is going well. And
was that was also picking up new clients each of those weeks as well?
Yeah, picking up new clients, kind of just kind of generally snowboarding on a few ideas, going deeper on a few things, and realizing that when the plates get bigger, you have to stabilize better. And you have to be able to like kind of manage and put more effort into them, which makes you tired, which makes the sleep more important to get by. And you can't really have an off day. You know what I mean? As you start to optimize, it's like it becomes if one thing is off, if you get sick, if you get this, if you get that, then game over. You know what I mean? You need to start again. You need to press reset. You've died, and you need to come back again now. It's like, where's the last checkpoint I have to pick up from?
It's like a computer game.
Yeah, man, that's it. Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. Got defeated by the big boss. Come back, try and beat him again.
Damn you, Bowser. Just like we need to keep playing. But yeah, it's been really good, bro. It's been really, really good in terms of just like life lessons as well. I was thinking of like so many different names going through my head, and one of my names was going to be On a Spectrum Brown, which is kind of just going to be talking about like. So one of the general themes of the last couple of weeks, especially working with clients, was just people going all in and people flirting on the edges. And I remember there was an episode of Joe Rogan Experience, which I need to find again, because the guy on there, I think he walked through the Sahara Desert or something. He had some ridiculous thing where he ended up doing some unbelievable amount of walking in some crazy places where literally he reckons like many humans have never actually been, which is a ridiculous thing to say in itself. And so he's talking about this concept, not concept, but just basically talking about his interpretation of life and saying that it's spectrum 1 to 10, and like 10 being 1 to 10, and 10 being like the very best things in life, the very absolute pinnacle of achievement, of like worked for it, eventually got the goal, anything you want to put there, whether it be you training somebody, whether you raising a child, whether you whatever, and going super well. One being this close to dying and having a really rough time, and not actually kind of having a horrible go at it. But what his take was that he had actually experienced both those dualities, and he experienced being completely broken by life, but then that really made him put the pedal down all the way and actually get up to the 9s and the 10s. And he'd had this ability to now look at people and say, I think the majority of the world lives at 3, 4, 5, 6 potentially at a push, but they don't have any idea of the spectrum and the width and the breadth of the spectrum, and saying that you can get all the way down to a 1 and a 2, and you can get all the way up to a 10 and I don't know, 11, if you want to say that. And it was just an interesting thing where I think with clients, sometimes there's some people that will happily find a way, and they, whether it's another experience in their life that's taught them that they can go harder here, or they can push more, or they can really be more invested into this, and then they're using that past experience to apply it to this, which I do think is the case in some instances. They're able to just extract a lot more from life than others, if that makes sense. And then the other end of the spectrum is people that are just kind of in the middle, and they're flirting with little things and flirting with different ideas. And when it gets to be not too much, but when it gets to be slightly outside of their norm, it's almost like, okay, this is not where I've been, so I'm not going to go here. And thank you very much. I'll be back in out now. So yeah, just a few little random points kind of popped up during the week. That, with good amount of hard work, good amount of just kind of checking myself, making sure my why is front and center in my mind. Ray Lewis motivation on YouTube was the motivation choice of the week, rather than I put on thingy again a few times. What's his name, man?
E.T.
E.T. Yeah, I put on E.T. a few times, but Ray Lewis got me through this week, man. I think I've sent you this video before. The one where he's talking about the limousine shooting, and he gets into more. Oh, it's so good, bro. It's so. I'm gonna send you it. Epic. The guy's not even a motivational speaker, but he's just talking about his own drive and his own why and his own thought process. And it's just straight to the vein. You know what I mean? Like, it's just on. As soon as he goes, you're just like, let's go. Don't care. It's getting done. So that's
don't hug that. Don't hug that, man. You got to
that's my 4 a.m., bro. That's my 4 a.m. Get out there, put that on, and make sure that you're aligned right now, because you're about to have to act right now. And if you're not aware about what's about to go down, then it's not going to go right. And that's it. You need to build those foundations, dig those foundations deep, and make sure they're about to hold you because it's going to get deeper than this. This is just the start. You know, I mean, we've been prepping for this for a long time, and prepping for this in a long time in loads of different ways. Whether it be conversations with people, getting better at that, and not being that guy who couldn't actually chat to somebody, to now having to converse with the carpet guy, and converse with the client, and then converse with TJ, and just string all these things together. Or it's the guy who's trained and kind of pushed yourself through workouts, and now having to adjust workouts and do different things. It's all training. You know, I mean, you're always training for some kind of test that you're kind of like, what's the word? Yourself signing up for. There's a better word for that, but I'm going to see that one for now. Yeah, you're just kind of putting yourself forward for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And it's been fun, bro. It's been fun, and that's been a kind of a nutshell of my week. So interesting times, bro. Looking forward to what next week has to hold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's leveling up, right?
Yeah.
It's like, even if next week gets a bit crazier, you're like, okay, I've been here before.
Yes.
I'm able to handle it better. I think that'll be the idea. Yeah. Life is just one big training ground, man.
Yeah, buddy. I was saying to this guy that TJ and I are working with, we jumped on a call, and I could see that visibly. He was a bit like, "Hi guys, how you doing? You're okay? Yeah, cool, okay, right." And it was, you could just get the impression that he'd also had a tough time. And I just said to him, I said, "Everything okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, all good." And just testing times. I was like, "Yeah, the tests don't stop. You know what I mean? The tests just don't stop." And whether that test is like standing up off your bed in a second, or actually going to a workout or whatever, it's like we always talk about this, right? Like it's you're always just part of it as long as you get to go again tomorrow. And I found myself doing that, like waking up in the morning and like saying my first prayer of the day and just being like, thank you for continuing this ride. I'm really enjoying it. I'd love to just carry on. So yeah, man, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. How about yourself, man? What's Air Brown saying?
Yeah, Brown is it's episode number 23, right?
Oh shit!
Jordan.
I like it. I like it. That's nice. That's nice.
That was it. I was thinking that was the
Closing
first
off.
thing that came to my mind. Yeah, exactly. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, oh, it's episode number 23. And I just like had an image of Michael Jordan in my head. And I was like, Air Brown, baby. I'm
I
flying.
like that. I like that. We
are
That's
flying.
That's the one, bro. That's the one. What a guy, man. We've talked about The Last Dance before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Epic stuff, man. I have a clip from The Last Dance saved on my phone. Where I just put my phone up to the actual iPad and I just recorded it because it was the bit where his dad's talking about him, and he said that when he was younger, I think he had 2 older brothers or some kind of he had more siblings, right? And other siblings, sorry. And his dad was like, Michael was the kind of guy that you'd ask him for a wrench and he'd go and pick up a screwdriver and be like, huh, this one? And he'd be like, no, the wrench. Like, come back with a hammer, like, and he'd be like, no, come on, man. His dad would be like, get back in the house. Like, you just stay with your mom. Like, you're useless. And like, personally, that's legit. That hit me so hard because it was my dad's a mechanic, right? And wanting to kind of live up to expectations and be like, oh, okay, I can help you out here, and then just making the job twice as long because you just don't know what you're doing. And Michael kind of used it as a, okay, cool, I didn't get this, but I'm gonna fully exact on the other stuff and show my worth and everything else. That was a really powerful moment for me. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna have that saved on my phone when I need it. I know it's there, and it's almost like it will just like blip to me to be like, just watch me for a second, and then like remember one of your whys. You know, remember one of the keys to your success moving forward. And that's cool. I like the fact that he went super deep with that stuff, man, because everyone has these little triggers. You know, I'm sure like Kobe has the same ones. I'm sure David Beckham has the same ones. Like, and it's cool to bridge his experience to your experience. I mean, oh, okay, I went through that, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You know, it's just training, like we said.
Yeah, man. It's it just goes to show, it's like, these people are in their own stratosphere, but ultimately it's the process that's got them into that stratosphere, right? So you can reach you can get to your own level of that. You can get to your own stratosphere. And that's it.
Yeah. So that stratosphere, it's just man-made, right? It's like a thing or show business and glitz and glamour, and then you see them after the game and they've got like 11 microphones like shoved in their face and they have to speak to them. It's like that's just a thing that's kind of come as a consequence of these people doing amazing things. So it's like I just want to align with that. You know what I mean? I want to align with finding a burn in me and then making that burn like do something good. You know what I mean? That has to happen. Otherwise, like, what's the point? And what's the point? And that's why this podcast is so great, because it just gives you affirmation. I'm sitting here saying it, and I'm also hearing myself at the same time, being like, okay, I'm downloading this file. You know what I mean? I know there'll be a time when I'll need this, and it will come out. You know what I mean? Like the guy that we train with on a Sunday, sometimes Jimmy Judo Wallhead, great name. He will talk about like how
judo is actually his middle name.
yeah. I don't know where that came. Well, he's a judo black belt. It's a funny story. I think he told us this once, where he wanted to go to jiu-jitsu classes, and his mom took him, and he ended up being a judo class, and he was like, "Mom, like, I don't want to do judo. Like, why am I doing judo?" And but they ended up becoming a sick judoka, and also he's currently, I think, a jiu-jitsu brown belt. Like, he's a beast, and he'll talk about how the programming will just come out. And like, you've been through the experience, and when it's time for it to show, like, you have the motivation, you have the why, it will show itself. You know what I mean? So that's a fun concept, man. That's a fun concept. And then linking it back to clients, it's like, you have to have gone there for you to then put it on a client. And I think I say put it on them in the best way possible, because you almost have to go first and then speak from a position of experience and not authority, but like, you need to do this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I needed to do this, and I see that same need in you right now. You might not see it yourself, but I need to push you this way because as a result, you just level up infinitely. So, yeah, man. Yeah, that's in a nutshell been this week. Been pretty
Yeah.
deep, but fun at the same time.
Yeah, wicked. That's
Yeah, man.
yeah, I feel that. I feel that because it's like yeah, you got to be able to resonate with yourself. Like you said, like, you know, you're saying it, you're hearing yourself say it. And if you're hearing yourself say it, but there's a part of you which like you just realizes that, oh shit, I don't mean it, you know? Yeah, that discrepancy is it's there. You can feel it, and other people will feel it as well. So you're not coming. You might not be able to place a finger on it. Somebody else might not be able to place a finger on it, but they'll just know that okay, well, this isn't going to work out because this person isn't coming from that authentic place of having been there, kind of done that, or at least in their own kind of way. I think, I think a classic one is like I've seen it before as well. With just you get like these, you know, like business consultants come up and it's like they've not set up a business themselves before or been a part of that process, and then like, you know, they're explaining to people, here's how you know, here's how you run a team, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, and okay, fine. It's like you've seen the theory, you've done it all as well, but it's a different thing having been through the practice of doing that, right? And 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 so that to me is like I realized, like, I've met people like that, and like, you know, they're cool people, they're safe people and stuff, but then it's just like I didn't resonate with them to the degree that I thought I could, because there was just that level of authenticity that was missing behind what they were saying, which is, you know, they haven't actually been there and done that. They're just reeling off what they're like kind of read in a book. And it's like the difference is I'm reeling off a lot of stuff that I've read in a book, but I've also done it. You know? And that to me, I've realized over time is more important than uh, than um, than just having read a book and then going to tell someone else this is how you do it. I've applied it not just to myself, but like, you know, to be able to help other people, kind of thing. So because I started to figure out for me personally is like, if I'm saying things to people and I haven't necessarily been there or done that or appreciated what it means from in a visceral level, not just intellectually because I've read about it, but I have to feel it on some level. If I haven't done that, then I don't even believe what I'm saying. I realize that. And that will obviously come through to other people. Whereas if I've done that thing in whatever shape or form that is, like, for example, you're talking about connecting to your why, right? And clients need to do the same thing, whatever their goal is. I don't have to have the same goal as my clients. I never have the same goal as my clients. And I don't have to have the same goal as them. But I have a goal, I have my own vision, and I have my own why. And because I've done that process, I can talk about that process with them and make sure that they're sticking to their vision, their goal, their why. Whereas, you know, if I haven't kind of been there, done that in that visceral kind of way, in that deep interoceptive kind of way as well, not just understanding it from an intellectual point of view, but from every other angle too, I just don't feel like you should be talking about it if you don't understand it from that level. And I realized that. I realized, you know, early days especially, is like be saying things that I didn't really understand because I hadn't made it a part of myself. Now it's like, no, I want to make it. I want to make sure it's a part of myself, and then be able to really talk about it.
That's so true, bro. It's like you're either saying somebody else's words or you're saying your own words through your own experience. And it's like, it's cool once you've read it, sound, but then for you to go away and then put it into your own experience and then deliver that back, that's everything. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
that person's coming to you for not a recanting of events from somebody else's thing, because that's available to them the same as it's available to everybody else, but they're coming to you for your take on what's happened. You know, I mean, how do I piece this together? This exercise, where are the common positions where I'll fail? Okay, right. Well, it's this, this, and this. And if you don't have this in place, well, we need to think about that more. And this is where, like, this is how programming works. And then that dialogue, I think this is something I've developed as a coach in the last kind of couple of months. Is Shadow says it all the time, like, words matter, and taking the time to assemble your dialogue based on your experiences. It's so important, and that's why also being present in your own experience is so important. And we touched on this in the podcast when Bilal was on. We talked about kind of like rage and ego lifting, and how blank a canvas you're really creating there, because somebody can come to you, and I see this example at the gym that I train at. People kind of training with other people, and there'll be like a father and son there, or there'll be like two training buddies, and really they have nothing for each other apart from how they've seen somebody else do something. And it's like that tricep push down is the same as you've seen that big guy in the corner do it, and he doesn't really know why he's doing it, but he's got the animal in him to a point where he's able to push past that pain barrier. But you're doing the same as him, but you haven't got that why to draw from. So your ability to then pass on that information, it stops and starts with what you can see him doing. And now you're just not effective now. You know, you're just not effective because you haven't actually gone deep on this, not only from a mechanic standpoint or an education standpoint, but from actual, like, why is that guy even here doing that? You know, I mean, why is he doing that exercise? Why is he actually finding the need to do that? So many layers to this stuff. And this is why, like, this job is definitely the best job, man. This job is such a cool job. You just get to recount your own experiences and help people live better lives. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Like, as a really, really, base level. But I think it's absolutely vital that if you haven't done it first as a PT, like this is again quoting Shallows, like, you are your first client. Go out there and get it done yourself. Dig deep on your why, like, know your macros and know your training splits, and then try it and go to the depths with it. You know what I mean? Like, really take it all the way. And only then can you actually potentially start to take somebody else there. But then again, it's only that route you can walk. And you have to go and walk all the other routes. You have to go and do your cardio. You have to go and do your steps afterwards, and your meal prep, and wake up in the morning and do it again, and realize the importance of your sleep, so you can then actually go and pass that forward to somebody else. It's never ending, right? Never ending. There's infinite tests that just got to keep ticking off, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why experience is the mother of it all. You know, the more experience you can garner, the more effective that your advice becomes. And it doesn't even have to be advice. You can just tell a story, and then somebody will glean something from it. And that's super important. Is got to have that with it. Yeah, in terms of it being like the best job, it's just it's tangible. You know, the difference. Your result is tangible. Like, you can see it. It's that person right there in front of you. You know, it's about as tangible as it's going to get. Like, you've changed, and you helped be a part of this person's change, or the way that they envisage their life to be. You've helped facilitate that and allow them to get to that point. That's man. It's all definitely about tangible results, and that's where it's at.
Yeah, man. And it's like I had this thought while I was training this week, whereby if the motivation for me in that moment was, I was training, and two of my clients walked in. They're training together. These are great clients, like, and they're doing their thing. They're having a great time. Sam and Amy, shout out. And my motivation in that moment was, now in my next set, I need to go in, because I know I have to take them to that place one day. So it's like, if I don't carve my own path first, then my value to them is diminished, because I need to know that if they're parting with their time, with their investment, with their everything in that moment, I need to know that I've given my best to make sure that their return on investment is as high as possible. And that starts and stops with me right now. What can I do right now to affect them? Is I can go balls to the wall on this set right now. So I think I ended up PRing by like 10 kilos on this particular exercise. And it was only an exercise that I hadn't actually pushed the boat out, because I was like probably being a little bit safe with it, and I'm being a little bit kind of, let me just get the work in, because I've got this to do and that to do, and I've only got an hour and a bit to get this whole session in. There's a lot to do. So I'm just thinking, okay, let me just think longevity. But in that moment, I was like, yeah, cool, longevity. I've ticked that box now. Now there's a heavier dumbbell over there. I should go pick it up. Like that. That's the kind of mentality. It kind of just switched off, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool, I can do it. And I did it, and I did it for multiple sets, and it's like, it's still there. but you have to find that why in that moment to make that the right thing to do, and then be like, okay, then you're fully engaged to doing it. Whereas if they hadn't walked in, I would have been comfortable with the current weight that I was doing. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. I'm ticking my box.
Right.
Whereas now, I've got another box to tick for this particular reason. You know what I mean? And then that's motivation enough.
Nice. And that's great, because that's like it's like, clients, man, just watch me train.
Yeah,
just
you
come
make
in and
me
watch me
better.
train. It's good. You'll make me
Yeah,
better. You're
man.
gonna drive me to another level. But yeah, you just learned another way for you to level up as well, right?
Yeah,
You just add another way of doing that, another string to the bow. Yeah, that's jokes, man.
Yeah, man, too right. And it just comes from that awareness, right? It's like we'll take it back to Sylvie. It's like Sylvie, you don't go to Polaris. We know we don't have that example of somebody who can go and take it to that level. Whereas if he kind of knuckles down and signs his name on the dotted line, it's like, oh shit, that's open to us maybe. You know, we could go there one day. And it's the same for us. I mean, we choose the gym, we choose whatever movement modality or whatever to study, or breathing technique or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's we have to go there first. That's the point. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, exactly, man. Just, yeah, like what was I going to say? I don't know. I just kind of so that was a good point.
Yeah. I don't know how. Again, without our standard tangents, I don't know how we get there. But we end up getting to some kind of deeper meaning toward the rep. You know what I mean? The rep is now not a rep; it's now a vehicle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a vehicle taking us to some far off place that could or couldn't be one day, but we're kind of hoping. And it's that manifest your own shit, right? You gotta if you had a choice, which you do, you can make it this way or you can make it that way. So I choose that blue pill. Choose that blue pill.
Exactly. Go down that, man, because ultimately it's like I was just actually, that was another thing that I was talking about with some friends yesterday, and it was just like how some people like didn't realize that there were certain people who were so people that I know who were so affected by lockdown, for example, or like by COVID, and just becoming a lot quite actually building up quite a bit of anxiety around it, not leaving the house and stuff like that. And yeah, so it just got me thinking about how, things like negative circumstances, how they can take a hold of you in unexpected ways, or you can kind of let them take a hold of you in unexpected ways, and just and you can end up bedding down in that kind of headspace as well. And before you know it, 6 months have passed, because that's how fucking long it's been since lockdown started, right? And as in that the kind of restrictions that have been placed on everyone, 6 months, like you're just gonna let that slip by. It's like, if you're at this point and you just realize, okay, life has stood still or basically gone backwards since 6 months ago, better change that. Better start dealing with that, because that's not, you're going to have to create your own reality in whatever way that's possible, because everything around us right now is just basically pointing towards potentially another lockdown. But whatever it is stopping you from having what you had 6 months ago or 7 months ago. So, and you can't rely on what's going to happen. You can't rely on things turning back to the way they were, and it could go on for another 18 months. Because of the nature of how viruses take hold of populations and stuff. So, you're going to wait 18 months, another 18 months. You're going to have 2 years just go down the drain. Fuck that, man. Like, start dealing with that shit, and just change your outlook, and change what you can do, and change the reality that you're living in.
Totally agree. So we were just having this conversation at training just now, and one of the guys there was saying that it's been great for him. Lockdown's been so good, because the change of pace from where I imagine he was before, which was just like a donkey, just going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and just unfortunately kind of living that packed out life, gives you zero time to reflect, zero time to be like, let me just take a second to breathe. And that take a second to breathe, it's not a second sometimes it's weeks. Like when I left London, I took a month and a bit off work, like a month and a bit, where I just got up when I wanted to get up. I trained when I wanted to train. I still found myself busy in the day. I still found myself getting, oh shit, it's 9 p.m. Like, where's the day gone? But amidst that relaxation, you're able to just like look at your life and be like, am I living the way I wanted to live? Because I'm expiring right now. Like this is going, like, no one get these skin cells back. Like they're off. You know what I mean? Like the
Entropy.
yeah, man, it's going. You know what I mean? Like that Thanos done clicked his fingers 1991, and I'm just slowly turning into dust. You know what I mean? Like that's happening. But we can't. And it's back to that. We talk about the concept all the time, like the wolf that you feed, right? And being aware of that wolf. And I think this is another thing that I was thinking about this week, which was spending time of your life doing certain things will inevitably equal certain results, right? What I mean by that is kind of how much of your day do you spend training? 1 hour, no hours, 20 minutes, you know what I mean? And then on the back of that, how much time of your day do you spend thinking about improving at whatever it is you're doing, breaking down the skill component, breaking down the thought process component, breaking down the talking to yourself component. You know, there's so many different branches that you've got to cultivate to actually be effective at this level. And I think that a lot of people don't really understand that key concept, that it takes a lot of time to fully own yourself and to fully realize that you can be as effective as you want, but these building blocks must be put in place, and you must know that when you're placing them, be fully aware of the implications of placing them, be fully aware of the implications of those reps, because whether they're good or whether they're bad, they are instilling something into you. You know what I mean? And that is often a very unconscious thing that people will go through and arrive on the other side and just go, oh, this is who I am. This is how I am. This is the way I am. And it's like, you had a choice in that. You've got there, and now it's who you are now, but still doesn't need to be who you will be in 3 seconds time. You know what I mean? You're choosing it because you're so embedded in that. The concretes, the foundations are so set for you to break the chain and cut to the left rather than cutting to the right. Now it seems such a foreign concept, but the ability to be fluid in the moment and realize, okay, I can't go outside tomorrow. What do I need to do for my life? Like, what can I do? What are the options? And just have that. Let me just think about this. Let me just stop and think about this, right? That is everything. You know, I mean, we think about like these like samurai way of life, and like Yamamoto Musashi and all these kind of people. They seem to have this like, there is the pace of the world, and then there is my pace, and it's like, you can go 1,000,000 miles an hour and be super showbiz and be everything that you want to be because the world said that is cool, or that is in fashion, or that is the done thing. But if this is more effective for me, I'm going to be over here. And because I on my own, I am my own world on my own. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't, it doesn't mean that I have to choose your reality. You know what I mean? I need to substitute my own and really scratch away at the surface. And what is that actual there? You know, like you linked it kind of back to what you said earlier about knowing when you're not actually good at something. Decide, would you like to stay shit at that? Would you like to kind of have kids one day and then not be able to explain it to them? No. Well, okay, well then here's a book, go ahead and read it. Or here's a teacher, here's a student, here's a course that's coming up. Apply your time, figure out your schedule, get it done, because this is not an option. If this is not an option, then figure out the ways of making it better. And that's all it really comes down to.
That's right, bro. That is right. Yep. I mean, like, I can certainly vouch for that in terms of, like Jordan Peterson's, he's got that understand myself questionnaire, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's basically big 5 personality traits, and in the first time I did it a while ago, it was. Yeah.
Hidoji?
All right. Yeah, first time I did it a little while ago, it came back and told me that, low in conscientiousness, basically. So industriousness is just essentially, I just don't put effort into my life. It was like, whoa, okay, it's like, in a way, I was like, am I really surprised? Because I was taking it at a time when I just wasn't connecting to that why again. And then, and so I figured out, okay, if I'm going to become more conscientious, that will directly impact the kind of life that I want to live. and have like, it will make me feel more purposeful, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to need to put steps in place to make that happen. So, which was basically go back to, what is it that I want, what don't I want, and what do I want, and uh, and keep that in mind, that dichotomy, because definitely want to stay away from where I don't want to be, and I definitely want to move towards where I do want to be. And then, okay, what do I need to do to build in that level of work that it's going to take to get to that place? Just got to start scheduling in each day. Just like, make a little bit of time, and then that'll become baseline, and make a little bit more time, that'll become baseline. And it's just all those little habits, which then affect other habits as well, like, waking up earlier, for example. And then, yeah, I've started doing those things. And if I look back to the time when I made that initial, did that initial Big Five personality traits questionnaire to now, I'm like, no, I've actually changed. I've actually changed my level of conscientiousness, my industriousness, and I've got a much better baseline. I'm actually working towards something every single day, as opposed to having days where I feel like I'm just floating by and feeling, how I explained a while ago, like my version of hell is like vacuous mediocrity, where I just feel like I've got nothing going on and nothing's really changing. It's like, yeah, those days basically don't happen anymore. And it's like, wow, this is a hell of a change. And it's because I took the time to figure out where the shit is, like, where am I not doing well? Where am I not doing as well as I like to be? And then kind of being honest about it and being like, all right, I just got to take that on the chin and then do something about it. And I started doing something about it, and I can tell the difference. I can see the difference in output as well, in terms of where life is and where I see it going, and like, how the avenues and the doors are opening up as a result of that, as opposed to just kind of being a bit closed off and living in that vacuous mediocrity. So especially from that, and that's another example of, going there and doing it, and then being able to coach that to clients as well, which is, all right, well, you might be shit at meal prepping, you might be shit at just getting down to the gym, but so what? Because you can change that. You might not have an idea of what your why is fully. All right, let's work on that. And then when you have that, then going to the gym becomes less of a chore for you. Doing your meal prep becomes less of a chore for you. Understanding your choices, let alone doing your meal prep, becomes less of an issue for you, because you're willing to put the work in. And that's all stems from, what you said, like having been there and done that yourself, and understanding it viscerally, rather than just it being a piece of knowledge that you picked up and being like, all right, yeah, maybe I need to show this to someone else. It's like, no, we've been there, and we can coach that.
You're right, man. I love that. I love that. You went there, you went places with that conversation. That absolutely, we need that soundbite. That's important. I mean, do you know what? Well, I think we're making our own version of ET speeches here sometimes. It's just like put some dramatic music in the background, get some wolves running through the woods, and be like, "Yeah, we're on."
Exactly. Because I know we need to find someone who can like be our, like, I don't know, manager for that kind of thing. Who the hell knows how to deal with this social media stuff? Who knows how to edit these videos properly? Is like, I spend time doing it, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just working it out as I go along.
That's it, bro. That's it. We'll get there, bro. We'll get there. Just start one step at a time, and just break it down and go forward, man. I love that. Yeah, it's so true, man. So true. You said there, this is where the shit's at. This is where the shit is at. Like, I'm not good at this one thing. And something that happened to me this week was just practicing being more aware, no matter what I'm doing. So, like, right now I'm sat here talking to you, and I have to keep my eyes on your eyes. Otherwise, I look over there and I look over there, and I miss the first 3 words you've just said. And all of a sudden, the game is harder to get. You know what I mean? Like that immediately doesn't put me on the back foot. You know what I mean? If this is like a jit situation, this is a sparring situation. There's now a play that I've personally let myself slip up from. Like, I had a choice to keep my eyes on you or look over there, and I chose to look over there. Whether it's a lapse in concentration, I can choose not to do that. You know what I mean? And owning that choice, it leads to so many other things. You know what I mean? Because then it's a power. Then it's like, kind of, you go into a conversation with somebody, and it's like, how long can I personally be fully present? Like, can I stop shuffling my hands around, because that takes me out of this? Can I regulate my breathing? while this person's talking. And so I'm just tasking myself with these basic things, but they're foundational things. You know, they're such foundational things, and it's so much fun to be like, I fully understood everything you just said. You know,
Yeah.
just, as basic as that sounds, like I was present. Thanks. I did it, guys. Mom,
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you, Dad. We
Yeah.
just got there at the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, just
Just
a
create your
simple
own
thing.
little award.
Yeah.
I did amazing at awareness.
Yeah. I was present today. Check. Take
Yeah.
that register. My name is on it. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that then allows you to just go through life being so much more effective at the little things. And whether it be like reading, whether it be anything, like start a lockdown. We pull the conversation back to what you said about lockdown. I had a moment where I was like, okay, can't go to the gym anymore. Gym's closed. Online straight away. Get on that. Like, I don't know how to do Zoom. Like, set up a call. Okay, this is how you do Zoom. How do you mute somebody? Do it like this. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, ooh, hi. How are you doing? You're on my computer now. Okay, push-ups. And then all of a sudden you found yourself kind of looking at your screen. You're like, okay, 3, 2, 1, hold 1,001,000. You're like, oh shit, I'm doing a Zoom session here. This is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and just being aware of the fact that you're now able to do this. You know what I mean? That is growth and progress. I mean, as soon as you're able to kind of dissect it in its raw form, then spread that shit like butter over everything else in your life. You're just like, oh, it all tastes great now. You know what I mean? Everything is now accessible.
Butter. That's
Yeah,
bro,
man.
I love
That's
that analogy.
bro. Butter
Because
is so
butter is the best shit.
everything. Butter is like, okay, if you've never just got a piece of cake and just put butter on it, right? Go do that right now. You have my. I don't care about your coach telling you your macros. 10 grams of butter is not going to kill you. Okay, just go and do that.
Fine. You can
Yeah,
make it work. You can make it work in macros.
that's it. That's like that's the feeling. You know what I mean? That's the feeling. Then you go forward on that. Everything just tastes like butter. You know what I mean? Whether it's footwork drill, whether it's conversation, whether it's a study time, whether it's sleeping, it's all a task. And sometimes I get in bed and I'm just like, how well can I fall asleep now so that I can wake up tomorrow and be like, oh yes, I did that well. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, I remember doing that as a child, like genuinely doing it as like a
Right.
9, 10-year-old kid. This is super random, but going to bed being like, I want to fall asleep quickly. Let me try and fall asleep quickly so I can wake up in the morning and just crack on with whatever I want to do. So I can get like, because you're not able.
Because you're so busy as a 9, 10-year-old.
Bro, I'm like,
that's what I love about it.
just I don't even know what I was doing, but clearly I was aware of the fact that don't be wasting time just laying in bed, yeah, because this is whack. I don't want to just be like, I want to do something. You know what I mean?
That is epic, bro.
Yeah.
That is epic.
That's
love
super
that.
random. And do you know what? I remember now when I sleep now, something my mind's so busy. I'm like, remember how you were as a kid? Yeah, go and do that again. Like that was effective. That was a random kid not knowing his left from his right, but he knew that if it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep for a reason. So go bed. You know what I mean, because that will help you get up in the morning fresh and refreshed and ready to go.
That is amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What was 9, 10-year-old me doing? It wasn't that. I was not being efficient. I was not even thinking about being efficient. I think that was probably, I was probably hanging around with the wrong kid at that time and getting told off for doing that. That was it.
Bro, I was a proper loader at that age, man. I was a proper loader at that. I think I had a few friends, but I was just like, I don't know what I was a pretty weird kid, but at the same time, I think I was a very how can I put this? I was just, when you look at things and you're just happy to just be quiet and just see. I think I was that kid. I didn't want to say too much because it's like I don't really have the tools to add to this right now. So, but I'd like to just take it in. I think I was that kid. But it's flipping interesting, man. Flipping interesting. I'm going everywhere in my head right now with childhood thoughts of me playing on my own. Just be like, yeah, it's cool. This is fun. This is okay. I've ticked the box and enjoy myself. That's done. I don't need to go around right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one.
That's jokes, man.
Super random, but yeah, super necessary to do the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's wicked. I love that. Just get in touch with my 9, 10-year-old self again. Just be like, hey, he had it right.
Yes. Yeah.
What was he doing? I'm gonna do that as well.
Bro, you see it all the time, right? You see people that are aged individuals. I'm not gonna say grown, aged individuals that you can tell that the what's the word, institutes of the world have pulled them away from their essence. And like, you watch children and there's no concept of time. That's why they cry when you say I have to go home, because it's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm having fun with my cousins. I want to be having fun the rest of my life. And it's like we can just get old in this room right now. We can literally just get old, play with these balloons. Like yesterday, I went to I went to Bilal's mom's birthday party. So shout out, happy birthday, Bilal's mom.
Yeah.
Auntie Zara, happy birthday. And it was a lovely time. It was a surprise birthday party. And we all jumped out, said surprise, all that stuff, pop out balloons and stuff. And it was great. It was really good. Really, really, really orchestrated by Bilal's older sister and Bilal's younger brother. And all of them did a great job. And I was watching, yesterday was the first time that we had a lot of the kids from our family just in one room. And it wasn't a massive gathering, but it was enough to kind of have a few kids together. So you just watch them play, and they genuinely don't have like they're forming there and then in front of you, right? So they don't have these hang-ups that we would have, like, oh, pass me the ball, oh, I'll go over here and do this. And like, we're just stuck in these modes of having seen people do shit, and now we're just acting out, like we said earlier, acting out that stuff. But they're figuring it out. They're just figuring it out now. And then, like I said, the concept of time to them is nothing. So they're crying 1 minute and hungry the next minute and all over the place. So
Yeah.
it's interesting, man. We can definitely take more lessons from them.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, it's interesting because, like, yeah, they're gonna be all over the place. They're unregulated, as that I always TJ say he was an unregulated kid.
Yeah.
but that's what it is when you're a kid. Like, and you need, like, I mean, adults are there to help regulate them when they need to be regulated. Yep. But it's so important for them to just play and just mess around and kind of learn those rules a little bit by themselves. And then, the adult kind of hits it home. Like, all right, you did that. That made you cry. Do you want to do that again? Nah. All right. Learn lesson, hopefully. Yeah. And that kind of thing. That's, it's fascinating. I just love watching. I love, that was another thing. It was, yesterday at Go Ape, right? So basically you finish the course and then you end up doing a zip wire down to the end. Nice. And I've just finished my bit and I was about to go on the zip wire, but I heard on the level below, on the course below us, I just heard this voice. It was like coming from an 8-year-old girl just shouting to the other side because the zip wire was coming from the other side to her. And she was like, "You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you." It was, I was like, where is this voice coming from? Who's she shouting at? And I was looking across. It was just like, yeah. Exactly. It's like, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? It's like, I was literally just, literally a taxi driver. I was looking at, there was no one else. I was like, I don't see nobody else. He must be talking to me. And then, but no, she was talking at the other side to her, like probably her best friend or something, and she wasn't getting off the zip wire. She wasn't making the move to come to the other side. So she was just shouting, I go, "You can do it. Yeah, I believe in you." And then when she actually started, I was watching it. I was like, this kid is amazing. That was epic to see. I started cracking up because I was so happy that there's this kid just putting so much good energy out there for her friend and just screaming at the top of her lungs to the other side of the freaking course. And then her friend actually does it. And then she starts going, "Yeah, yes, you could do it." And then she met her at the end. It was just epic. I was like, I want friends like that. Yeah, man. I want more friends like that.
Raw emotion, man.
Yeah, it was pure, man. It was like
unregulated, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. That it got me so pumped. I was like, this is such a wicked moment. I'm glad I got to see that. Like, these kids giving me hope.
Too right. Yeah, too right, man. Too right. And then like, it just kind of comes back from that kid to kind of a person sat in the office just tapping away at a keyboard to go home and feed your cat and then do it all over again tomorrow. It's just lame, man. It's lame, man. Yeah. You watch like what's a movie called Mr. Deeds? Have you seen Mr. Deeds?
I haven't, no.
Oh, bro, you gotta watch Mr. Deeds. Mr. Deeds is so good.
Is that Adam Sandler?
Yeah, Adam Sandler. Yeah. He inherits his fortune, and he's left with this like billions or whatever. He's in charge of this company, and obviously you have like these big wigs, and there's that creepy guy in there who's just like he's just the archetypal bad guy. I think he plays the hotel manager in Home Alone 2, and he's just trying to get this kid.
Tim Curry.
Oh, is that his
That's
name?
the
Oh,
actor. Yeah,
I like it, man. On point with the movie references.
yeah. I don't know. Like I said, but I got a little bit of autism for that kind of shit.
I love it.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. He's he's um he's in the film, and he's just like this proper businessman, like trying to get every loophole in the book and trying to screw this guy over out of his fortune so he can inherit the money and get him out of his business. And you think like Adam Sandler kind of goes into this speech at one point where I think he gives the money away to somebody else in the company, and
Mm.
he's talking about how as a kid all he wants to do is just play. And he was like, one of the lines is, I think if our 12-year-old selves were in this room right now, they'd kick the crap out of us and like put gum in our hair, because that's kind of what they wanted to do, you know what I mean? But when we grow up and
Yeah.
now we're like some random thing that we've kind of fallen into because like a careers counselor told you to do it or like whatever.
Mm.
Nah, man, it's not about that. It's about just doing what that 8-year-old kid did and just kind of encouraging
Yeah.
each other and just
Yeah.
just being a bit more raw. I think we can learn a lot from kids.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
100%. You have to. I think that's like that's probably going to be one of the biggest lessons as an adult is like if having a kid is you just you have to like, it's not about you anymore. It's like you see the world through their eyes and they're going to teach you something every second of the day.
You're right. You're right. But you say it's not about you. I think that it currently is about you,
Mm.
because like there'll be people that we know that you look at them and you think maybe you're not as honest as you could be, or you're not as kind of forthcoming with a clean intention or whatever, and you're thinking, and I'm like, that epigenetics, like we talk about epigenetics, gene expression and stuff. It's like
Mm.
that gene, that expression of yourself, you're about to sow that seed into another human. So it's
Mm.
like, can we code this computer differently? Because I don't
Yeah.
want to. I not only do I not want to have those traits of laziness, of like cutting corners, of whatever, but
Mm.
I don't want to instill them in this kid. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's like I'm 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 making a copy of myself, but I'm making another bad copy of myself. And
Mm.
where I have the opportunity to make a much more effective, much more forward moving copy of myself, I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing just to let you live with the same insufficiencies that I live with. And that's such
Mm.
irresponsible. It's such an irresponsible thing to bring another life into this world that needs to be catered for and taught and this and that and whatever, but then not have the wherewithal to be like, oh well, I should teach. I should first go first, and then like we talked about the client analogy, like if you've not been there yourself, how are you going to take the client there? Well, as a
Mm.
parent, as a human being, if you've not been there, where you've not looked at yourself in the mirror and been like, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is
Mm.
bad. This is not good. Like, fix up right now. You're not
Mm.
going to be able to lead this child into any kind of like prosperity or any kind of place where they can then be effective for the next generation or even be a little leader in their own generation. You know what I mean? That's
Mm.
a such a key thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
You gotta, yeah, you just have to, yeah, because you just, I mean, well, there's several thoughts that went through my
Mm.
mind all at once, but it is ultimately, yeah, you got to make those decisions which make them a more effective human being than even you ever were.
Mm.
So, and that takes a lot of reflection. You got to understand your own shortcomings. You got to understand, okay, these are the places where I could do with some work, but if if that's the thing which if I can help that person get right, that little person get right, if it means that it's going to make them a little bit more effective than I was, yeah, man, you got to do that, right? And yeah, it just
Totally.
takes a lot of self reflection to be able to do that.
It's like Shallows will talk about it in terms of programming, right? So it'll say
Mm,
program backwards. So like this is the goal. Like I want to
mm,
ultimately be really good at a back squat. I'm going to really be really explosive at a broad jump, and I want to be able to run quick. I want to be able to have a good 40-yard sprint. So okay, right,
mm,
well, what do I need to instill in my client or myself now with my program that covers these bases from a fundamental level? So okay, I need to have good core stability because I need to maintain ribcage over pelvis as I go through gait cycle. Okay, I need to have good extension patterns through my hips, and I need to be able to hit the ground hard, and also I need to be able to coordinate and the skill of a back squat and all these things. Same as life, right? It's like,
mm,
do I want this person to go through a life being a sneaky person? No. So I best check that in myself. Like if I ever find myself kind of ratting somebody out, or if I find myself kind of like trying to trying to just con somebody. Well, get that shit out of here, man. What are you doing with that stuff? No, we don't need to be playing with those toys. You know what I mean? They're not good for you.
Yeah.
And just think better of yourself. You know what I mean? Think kind of, and if you don't think better of yourself, figure out why you don't think better of yourself. Because again, if the end goal is to raise a kid who has awareness, who has kind of the ability to be properly effective and uses language well and speaks with like sensibilities and acts right, but knows that there's a hierarchy of age and respect and this, that, and all that. Well, then you best know that stuff first. So check that in yourself, and then as we go forward, it's really like you will still get it wrong. That's the ultimate thing, right? It's like you won't be able to check all those boxes because that kid's gonna have more influence than just you. But you can embed those things. I don't know. I think you've said this. You said the science behind this. Like first couple of years, first 4 years, first 6 years are the most formative. And if you can go back into your life and unpick those first 6 years, you can figure out how you were the way you were, and then you spend the next 18 years of your life unpicking that stuff, being like, oh shit, I wasn't very confident as a child. So maybe that when my kid comes along, I'm gonna be like, okay, which one do you want? Like, just let me hear what you have to say. Like, do you think the sky looks nice today? Let me just chat to this child. Give him a voice rather than actually like just not letting him speak. You know what I mean? That's kind of preempting some of the things that we had. But then again, to kind of blow the door off the whole thing, you don't know what that's going to cause. You know what I mean? So all you can do is kind of align yourself with what you think are best practices, and then hope that the journey continues in a good way. But you can't always get all of it.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then, but what the fuck do we know? We don't have any kids.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? Bring it.
Exactly.
Like, not like I'm about to pop a baby out, right? But
yeah,
me and my mom had a walk yesterday, and it was such a lovely walk. But it ended. Part of the way through, I was just like, I can't wait. I can't wait to kind of hopefully set my life up in a way where I can just chill for a little bit of time, and support whoever it is through this process, and then be like, okay, we're gonna do this really good. This is the plan. Here's a spreadsheet. This is how I'm gonna break this periodize this shit down and be like, okay, day 1 we're gonna do crawling. Day 2 we're gonna do standing on your own. Day 3, can you stand on one leg? This is a ball. This is what we do with it. Throw it. Go on, get it. I mean, like, I love that. I love the thoughts of that shit. There's people. I find myself doing this. You know, I find myself on YouTube looking at like child psychologists and like figure like oh, that I shouldn't think about my child in this way, or I shouldn't. You know what I mean? There's always people with their opinions, and it's the same as like this guy says a front squat's good, this guy says a Zeta squat's good, this guy says a split squat's good. So it's like, okay, well, let's try it and let's figure out which one works for me, and then see the benefits of the other ones, and hopefully use them as a tool when it's time. And then okay, now we have a human. Like, hi human. Like, I'm gonna try to do my best by you, human. Like, let's get you a good name. Let's not call you a terrible name, and let's get off to a good start. And then hopefully we'll go from there.
Exactly. It's like just take a leaf out of Celebrity's book and hello Apple, and Blue Apple, like, you know, whatever.
Ivy West or some random. Pick your name out of Wild Wild West to call you like Hancock McCall or some just random ridiculous name.
Do you remember the episode of South Park where they're ripping on Family Guy and they realize that the machine that comes up with the Family Guy jokes is just a bunch of manatees that are in a pool, and they just pick out these balls at random which form the jokes? I don't know if you ever saw that.
No.
But it's like, that's what I feel like these people who name their kids like that are doing. They're just like, all right, we're just going to leave it to the manatees, and they can pick a name for us, and they'll pick out 3 balls, and it'll be, you know, one's a color, one's a plant, and the other one's a fucking body part or something. I'll just call my kid like Blue Apple Patella, you know. So that's got a good name. That's a good name. Oh, and it shortens to BAP as well. It's got a nickname right there for them too. I was going to call you BAP. It's just, that's what it feels like. It's just, what are you doing to your kid, like straight off the bat, you know? I mean, that image of you, like spreadsheet, an 18-year long program of your kid, of your kid's periodization. That's the macro cycle. Here's the meso. And the meso could be like, you know, every 5 years, I don't know, whatever, every 6 years, and then hit the micro cycle. Oh man, that's too good. That's
Testing days will be there, like first day of nursery. How did he do? What was the progress report? Okay, yeah, his tempo's not very good at grabbing the juice box. Okay, right, we're going to work on that. He snatched off somebody else today. Okay, right, we're going to periodize some sharing game stuff. And
yeah.
just,
Exactly.
it's right in itself, bro. It's right in itself. This is
It really is.
What we're training for right now with these clients. It's okay. Preparation, just for have our own clients. Like
Exactly.
I bet I made this client. He's perfect.
Yeah. I'm gonna take this to a child now, bro. That's fucking hilarious. I could just I could just imagine. But at the end of it all, could you imagine? You got like you just scroll across your Excel spreadsheet. You've got literally how many days in like 18 years? I don't even know. Let's just say like what 10 years is 3,650 days.
Yeah.
20 years would be 7,002. Let's just say 7,000 days. You know, you got 7,000 freaking days of spreadsheets just laid out. Like, here's what happened this day, what happened on that day. And then
now that we've talked about it, we have to do it. We have to get down to X, 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 Y on the spreadsheet and be like, sheet 83. I used all of Excel. I completed Excel. That's it.
I've completed Excel. And like my child has completed Excel. And then you realize that you plot everything on a graph, and because kids are fucking random, you're not going to see any trends. You're just going to be all that effort, man. I've just found out that fucking raising a kid is just a crapshoot.
You're as messed up as I am. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I found out. Just in your own little unique way.
Odd, bro. Odd. That's it. And we'll compare spreadsheets. We're about 85, and we have about 3 kids each, or whatever. We'll compare spreadsheets and be like, oh well, minority report style. We messed up with this one. I mean, like that's just complete cap. Yeah. But this guy, he got really good dorsiflexion.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yeah, man.
Did our adult child achieve proper dorsiflexion so they can get into a squat and maintain it the rest of their life?
That's it. That's already a program I know is going to be instilled with your kids, because you'll be there squatting with them when they're on the floor. You'll just be there like, oh yeah.
My workouts are just going to be whatever my kid does, I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm just going to watch him like roll around. Like, all right, I better roll around. I'm going to watch him like pop his head up and just look around. I'll be like, oh, that's my next move. And I'm going to see him just, like fall on his face. I'll be like, maybe that's not my next move. Maybe I'll learn to control that. And then it'll be a baby-led class.
That's it. You fall on your face. I do eccentric push-up. Oh, great. There we go. I made my way down. That's it.
Exactly. Let my cheek touch the floor and then come back up again.
Done. Love it, bro. Love it. So random. Where do we go with these conversations, man?
Yeah, exactly. Don't know, but it just seems natural. You know, you just let it happen.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But at the same time, I can see people listening to this and be like, yeah, maybe I should give more thought to how I'm kind of giving my time to myself, giving my time to myself. Well, I'm taking my time for myself, and what implications that actually has. Because back to it, like if you're not living with that awareness, then you're not kind of aligning with what you know to be best practices, or what you assume to be best practices. Because at the end of the day, like we've said it already, you're going to get it wrong. Like where we first start is not going to be where we end up. And we had that analogy a couple of weeks ago where we said like the Ultron analogy, where you just tear your own body apart. You're like, I'm a new person now. You know what I mean? Like, but you only get to be that new person when you realize the insufficiencies of your old person. And you only realize that when you start delving deep. So you will get it wrong, but getting it wrong is actually the goal. You know what I mean? That's the, I was saying to one of the kids that I train, Eamon, he's into boxing and he's doing super good. Like he's training the other week, and his dad came out to check on his training. And I was to his dad, I was like, just punch him in the stomach. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, just punch him in the stomach. He's 13, right? And he went, dunk. And I was like, oh shit. It was like, dunk. He's like, solid, right? And I'm just like, yeah, boy. The guy's like core, like ability to hold his core stable is so good now. Yeah, so good. He's freaking 13 years old. Obviously, just programming it correctly and making him aware of keeping the ribcage over the pelvis, and just actually having a chat with this 13-year-old about like this is how I want you to try and think about this thing. Obviously, we'll move around it, but just having this in place is going to help you a lot with cutting, slipping, rolling, with having just the rigidity in your core, because that's something that we need to have as a boxer. And he just gets it, you know what I mean? And then seeing the product of the work, and it's so much fun to see his development, and then see the dad and be like, oh, okay, this kid is doing a lot better than I thought he was doing. That's a super interesting develop, because obviously you get clients and there's no one checking on the client's progress, but here you have a dad checking on his kid's progress, and it's like, okay, this is going really, really good. I lost my
Yeah,
train of thought there. I was going somewhere with that conversation, but I've fallen off at Eamon and his abs at 13.
yeah, man. No, I'm curious with that as well because, like, how do you go about programming for someone like him? Like, how much do you keep it like he's just a smaller adult, or is there certain things which you think need to be which need to be taken into account?
I think there's a mix. There's a mix. Like a lot of some of our training, I've worked in, like Derek Woodsky talks about, as one of his programming things is working in the ability to recognize patterns and then instill those. Your ability to recognize a pattern will then improve your ability to exact on that pattern as you go forward. So he does this thing called cross crawl pattern recognition. So it's like touch the knee, touch the other knee, touch the foot, touch behind, touch your left ear. You know what I mean? Like little random things like that, and then slowly build on that. And like we started with that. It was a super rudimentary. We were just left elbow touch, right elbow touch, right knee touch, left knee touch, and then right elbow touch, left elbow touch, like kind of just going around the body in these kind of rudimentary ways and then building on that. That was one of the things we instilled first. And then looking at his body and assessing him in a way that I can see that if this is left unchecked, he won't have the awareness to correct it going forward. So just teach him the basics of keeping core control, because when he's moving and when he's boxing, if he's moving in a way that isn't as efficient right now, it's only going to become more and more inefficient because he'll be building on weak foundations. So in a way, to answer your question, I think treating him like a little human rather than treating him like a child and putting the guise of, oh, his training should be play. He already does. I mean, like, credit to his father, he does so well by all of his kids. And honestly, I love going to their place to train him because he all his kids play out. All his siblings play out while he trains, and one of them's rollerblading. Then the other one's playing cricket, and then 2 minutes later they're playing basketball together, and they're playing tennis with each other. And it's like, this is fantastic. And then on the weekends they'll go gymnastics, they'll go trampolining, they go and play cricket, they play for a football team. All of them play for a football team, like 2 girls and a boy, and it's fantastic. It's so good to have that variety. It almost takes the pressure off me in the sense that I don't have to keep those bits of variety in our training. I can almost like make it a little bit more about be strong at this movement pattern as a hip hinge, be strong at this kind of knee flexion movement, make sure your feet aren't kind of make sure you're aware of your feet, and then just see how he develops. So a lot of it is about, like, it's the judgment of the sport. So is he improving at the skill of the sport, and does he have the awareness? Like this week we had the chat about breathing, and how he's in the ring, or he's in training, he's in sparring, and if he's not able to regulate himself and think that if he's thinking that he's panicking all the time, he won't be able to regulate his breathing. He'll just think, like, he'll just constantly be out of breath, and that'll obviously impede his judgment, and the skills that he does have, he won't be able to show them. So the training is almost a moot point. So half the session was almost taken care of by distance control, and we almost went into boxing. I'm not a boxing coach, but it was just the basics of, like, if you're there, I can't hit you, so you're pretty chilled. Yes, I can load up and I can spring, but you're going to see that in time. You're going to get hit by it now, but in time you'll learn how to, oh, he's coiling for something, so I should be on my guard, ready to move, ready to pivot, ready to back up in a certain direction. And once he has the breathing down, then he can basically slow the fight down. He can slow things down and see what's happening, and not kind of, like you say all the time, I think you say be responsive, not reactive. And that's part of the element now. It's almost like just seeing the human being in front of you and seeing where the gaps are, and then just filling those gaps in with awareness, like we say, aligning with best practice, and then acting on it in that phase, where we try and instill better practices. It's literally as simple as that. I established with him pretty early doors that he had an issue with his left shoulder, which led to him kind of like standing in his guard, and the left shoulder kind of just fall down. He wouldn't have the ability to kind of keep this posture. And that wasn't an awareness thing. We tested it, and it's okay. So he's a bit short through his internal rotators. He's a bit kind of inhibited through those. So, okay, we'll program some work for that. Give him some awareness around it, and see how it comes out in the wash. Okay, now he has the ability to keep his left hand up. Fantastic. Does he have the ability to keep good core control and pivot and roll from the relevant places, like use his legs rather than actually using his back? Oh, he doesn't. Okay, right. So let's break this down into a movement. Break this down into kind of exercise skill component and see how it relates back to the skill of the actual sport, and see what happens. And lo and behold, he's now able to roll with the right parts of his body engaged, come out of it with good shape, fire and move back or fire and move in. And he's just much more competent as a human now, but then he's applying the skills of boxing. It's going the right way, man. So yeah, it's mega fun to have the opportunity, man. Honestly, this is why I love my job. Absolutely, like what we do is super great, because just seeing it unfold, like with little scientists, like kind of running around, just like try this test, see how it comes out in the wash. Obviously, the results will be ready in about 3 weeks, and we'll be able to see what the hard work's gone toward.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's nice, man. Just changing that. Yeah, changing it like how work on a kid. Yeah, that's
definitely different, man. Definitely working on an adult, because like we said earlier, he's got a few things that have kind of been downloaded and are kind of there, and I see in him a lot of the things I see in myself, which is he's a very polite kid, he's a very smart kid, but he's a bit within himself, he's a bit shy, and doing certain things with him immediately bring him out of his shell, but doing other things with him immediately put him back into his shell. So then that kind of gives me reps as a coach to be like, okay, I don't need to do this with him today, because I can have that conversation with him, be like, listen, you need to focus here, because you can't, we're doing work here, we need to focus, we need to push for this. And that's interesting having that with a child as well, because he is a kid, you know what I mean? But he gets it when it's time to turn it on, he'll find another level. And whereas if I'm just like, oh, it's okay, like keep trying, that was the narrative in the first part of our coaching, which was just like, no worries, don't worry, try again, think about this, carry on. But then I've like turned the gear a little bit and said, okay, Eamon, now you know this, come on, let's see it. And his dad will take a similar approach, and you see him pushing himself more. You know what I mean? That's really fun as well, because now he's being more expectant of himself, and you can see that when he applies effort, the results largely going to be more understood as well, because he's more engaged in it, and then he can actually build upon that. Whereas before, if he's just kind of treating it as play is fantastic, but if there is a goal to be achieved in the realm of competition, then there is a standard, and if you're not meeting that standard, then we have to use other tools to get you to that standard. And it's not that we're trying to be mean, it's just that we're trying to not have you fail this path that you've chosen. So long as this is the chosen path, then we got to apply a lot more. We got to apply a few different techniques to get you there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Like applying that kind of that coaching, those coaching tactics with a kid.
It's fun, man. It's really fun. I'm really excited to see where he goes, because he's now stepped his boxing up to like 5 times a week. He's at a recognized club, which is an I think it's an ABA recognized club. So he'll be able to turn amateur soon and get in there as he wants to do, and slowly just scale it up. And I look forward to go to his fights. I look forward to kind of training with him there, and just liaising with the coaches. And like, I'd not understood what co-managing was before. Like you do, but you don't. Like, but now I kind of, on the back of Prescript, you understand that, okay, right, well, this guy's got a coach, he's got somebody who wants him to be better at boxing, who needs him to be better at boxing, who's judged on those criteria. But then he's also got myself, who's there for his nutrition, there for his sleep, there for his health aspect, and then there for his fitness aspect. And then can we put it all together and make him speedy and strong and more powerful? Like, then liaising with the coach and being like, okay, right, well, where does he need to work on? What movements is he not understanding? How can I go back and break those down into other skill components, and then slowly start giving him the pieces to exact on that skill. When it's time, the programmer will come out, and he'll be able to just be free with it, because he owns the information. He owns that movement pattern, or he owns the information to be like, okay, as soon as I fake here, you drop your hand, so I'm going to step to the left, I'm going to come over the top of the left hook. Okay, now that gets me in. You know what I mean? Once the left hook's in, now you're off your game. I can step in and fake again, and you're going to bite on that fake every time. So, oh shit, because you're scared of this left hook. Now it's not going to be a left hook. It's going to be a right. It's going to be uppercut through the middle. And it's like, oh shit. Now, we're only a couple of shots away from winning this fight. You know what I mean? That's the interesting thing, and going through it myself as well. Like this, we've talked about it so much today. Like being about it yourself. I have no business coaching him if I don't know how to throw hands, or I don't know how to understand boxing. I have no business. Like, and then slowly, like working with Jimmy, working with TJ, he's helped me understand, like, when I first started up, I had zero footwork, zero awareness of my shape. But through me being put through the trials, now I can see him and be like, okay, maybe I understand this a bit better. I'm still obviously miles away, but much more qualified now than where I was then. And I'm really glad that I started working on that stand-up stuff before I even got to training him, because now it's given me much more appreciation, and I get what it's like to roll a shot, roll a shot, roll a shot, step in, step out. I'm just tiring. It's exhausting. So like, this kid has to have the stamina to do that, the awareness, and then yeah, bro, just keep rolling on that train.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
otherwise you're gonna be like a casual MMA fan. It's like, Khabib's got you down on the ground. You're like, why can't you just get up?
Yes.
You don't fucking understand. Stop running your mouth. You don't know.
Just yeah, it's deep. It's deep. Like that guy is a professional killer, and he's being
Yeah.
killed. He's being killed.
Yeah.
Like, he's being killed.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell? How's that work? It's like, yeah, it just
Exactly.
doesn't compute, man. Unless you felt it, it doesn't compute.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think most people in this world, I will go as far as saying, need to be able to feel what that is.
Yeah.
Like, not to that extent. I think somebody just needs to know what it's like for somebody to be on top pressure.
Yeah.
You know, just something as simple as that. Like, you like, because things are taken so much for granted these days, and it's so easy for people to criticize on
Yes.
any kind of level. I think they need to be put in that position to realize how little they actually understand about surviving in this world. And that is what jiu-jitsu or grappling in general is really good at teaching you, is like, you don't know squat about surviving until you actually learn how to do it properly. And
Mm.
that should resonate into other areas of your life, because it just makes you realize that actually there's always, I just don't know. I just don't know what I'm doing.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I could get to, you can get to black belt level and you could spar with another black belt who will always own you, because there's still levels to the game. So it's that humbleness and the lessons that you learn from just getting your ass kicked, which teach you not to take stuff for granted.
That's
And
it, man.
yeah, make you realize that, oh, I could be doing a lot better in life, or I could stop fucking running my mouth about what it means to be in this somebody's control like that.
Totally
It's
agree.
yeah, I think that's super necessary.
Super necessary. There we go. Sweet Jesus. Sweet
There it is.
Jesus. Yeah, man. 100%. 100%. I think it's the theme of the podcast today has kind of just been about, like, knowing yourself and then being real with yourself, so you can kind of go forward and progress properly.
Mm.
That I lost my train of thought again. This is I'm out of practice for a week, man. This doesn't stay, does it? It doesn't stay. We need to keep on this
all
game.
it, all
Yeah,
it
man.
does is like, that's what happens, man. It's like, it just shows it's just young men at this game. We still
Yeah, man.
need we're just white belts.
That's the one. Okay, it's come back. It's come back. It's just popped back into
Yes.
my mind. You made me think about it. Like, doing doing the top pressure thing. You touched on it when you said what you said. It doesn't need to be top pressure. It doesn't need to be a back squat. It can be anything. I mean, I remember kind of working at a store, having to do the banking at the end of the day and being like, this is hard. Like, I don't know this. I mean, I don't know how to do all this, and then freaking, like, there's this I have to account for and that I have to account for, and why am I short here? And it's just seek out that difficult thing and just
Mm.
be okay. It's okay. Your first attempt will. I think I should have got that done in 15 minutes. It took me about 45 minutes first time I did it, and I was just like, "This is bad. Oh, we're behind. We have to keep the store open now. You're having to stay late because of me." All these pressure points. Whereas when you're in a leg press and you're taking it to failure, you've got to watch out for your low back, and you've got to make sure your feet stay, and you've got to make sure your heels don't lift, or all these things. Whatever the goals. But it's a case of just going there. Just go there. Like, go there and learn that, okay, you're not good at meal prep right now. Fine. Let's get better at it. Let's actually just work our way forward
Mhm.
by failing. I mean, that's the thing you need straight away, is just a perspective of where you are right now. And
Mhm.
then I don't believe deep down that across the board you will have something that you are driven to get better at, and then just
Yeah.
go and cultivate that straight up. Go and cultivate that one thing, whether it's knitting, whether it's driving a
Yeah.
car really fast. Doesn't matter, man. It just doesn't matter. Just go and
pursue.
Get better. Yeah, get better. That's it. Pursue. Yeah. That's it. Because then, like you said, it's a transferable skill. You can then pick that up. You have that commodity, and like you can go and spend it on other stuff. Like, oh, now I have determination. I have understanding of the process. Like I
Yeah,
have to have this in a coin purse, and then just be like, oh, have some of my determination toward my French lessons. Have some towards my piano lessons, and then maybe I'll save some for my guitar lessons or whatever.
yeah,
And that's just the way. That's just the way you become so much more effective at everything, right? And then you end up like that Ultron thing. You end up just kind of living so much more of an upgraded life, which is just better,
yeah,
just
man.
better.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
So,
Like, I was chatting about it with my flatmate. I haven't listened to it yet. The David Blaine podcast on
okay.
Rogan, right? Did you
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to it?
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah, okay.
Not
Then
all of
you
it.
might
Yeah.
know about that. You might know about the story he was telling about. He goes the best magician that he knows. He's probably the best magician in the world, or like does the best card tricks, but he just doesn't perform for anyone. The idea of
Yeah.
makes him sick,
Mm,
and but, you know, that's like that. Just knowing that is what you want to do to the extent where it has nothing to do with anyone else, and but there's also like, wow, like is that it's like just figured out that this is what I want to do. No one else has anything to do with it, and this geezer is probably the best in the world. He's probably a handful of people, but no one knows who he is as
mm,
well. That's just that's next levels as
yeah.
well. And you just kind of think to yourself, you know what, and like, you know, yeah, you gotta take it kind of to that level as well, in the sense that he's not questioning anything else. He's just doing that thing. And if you can find something like that, you know, it doesn't have to be to that degree, but if you can
Mm,
find something like that, then every day feels like a fucking awesome day, right?
that's it.
Even no matter how hard it is. And yeah, I had some thoughts about that as well. I was just wondering, it's like, I hope whatever talent that he's learned and picked up, I hope there's other people who get to benefit from that as well. But it
Okay.
doesn't seem like there are, you know, is because he will only show other magicians the stuff that he's been learning.
Mm,
I but I don't know, is he teaching them that stuff? Is it gonna die when he dies? Basically, like everything he knows about how to do these things and do them as well as possible. In a way, I'd feel like that would be a bit of a loss, and it just makes you wonder also, like, you know, how many more people out there are there like that? I'm
mm.
sure there are loads of excellent people like that as well, but you would just never hear about them, and we won't be able to learn what they've been able to learn.
So true, man. Thinks about that tree falling in the forest thing, right?
Yeah,
It's like, does it really fall? Did you see it fall? Does it really
yeah,
exist? Like
exactly.
that question. Where these people are out there, and it's cool just to know that they're out there in some ways. But then, like you said, I like what you said about not passing the knowledge on, and then it potentially being a bit of a waste. Um, I look at my dad in that sense, and I say, like, he's a brilliant mechanic, like unbelievable mechanic, but I've not had the time to go and learn from him. But I know that he's also not been a good enough teacher in his life to relay the information to me. So it's kind of
Right.
been an off-putting kind of thing to go and do. Now is a different thing, but then kind of a bit more stressful time, whatever. So I'm relating what you're saying about this magician to my own father, and I'm saying, like, kind of for him to go from this world without passing on the tricks of his trade
Mm,
would, yeah, definitely be a massive loss, a massive kind of opportunity not kind of gleaned.
mm,
Yeah, it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. But I think at the same time, that magician probably has a purpose for knowing what he knows. Like David Blaine tells a story in his thing about the reason he learned magic was to make his mum laugh, make his mum smile, make his mum kind of like just be like, oh wow, that's amazing, like, and make just put a massive smile on their face. And when he tells a story, there's a warmth to him. There's a warmth to him. Like usually David Blaine's like, watch, watch. It's like, shut up, man. Like, what's this guy like? He's just creep. Like, go away. But he's cool. He's super legit. So you do watch, and he's like, oh wow, he's done some amazing stuff there. But then he starts talking about his mum, and you're just like, oh, okay, there's the reason why. Like that,
mm,
he had a reason to go back to their like terrible apartment in New York somewhere, and just be like, okay, mum's come off a massive night shift, or been working till she has to sit down, and he's like, okay, mom, watch this. Like, just let me just brighten your day a little bit. So his wants there. Maybe that magician has his own reason to not show people, because
Yeah,
maybe he's done it in the past, and he's just like, no, I need to keep this to myself, because people of the world, they're not ready for this. So that's it.
yeah,
But yeah, it's cool, man. It's a really good podcast. Defo check it. I remember sending it to TJ as well, because the guy just has a very sincere view. Like his the way he comes across is not like many people, I think. And he's a bit random. He starts swallowing frogs at one point in the podcast, which is just like
yeah.
batshit, and you're just like, don't do that, man. It's okay. Like, don't need to go that far with it. Like, I don't need to see you swallowing a toad. Like, but his why, and like kind of just his motivations, linking it back into what we were talking about today. It's nice to have that vision of somebody being like, the same way you said, like, there's people are out there, the people who have these amazing skills. There's also people out there who have these amazing stories, and his one is pretty sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Different shit, man. Different shit. Different experiences. Just like listen to this guy who just trapped himself in some ice. Yeah, man. Go on.
Yeah, that's it. No, you just see that personality on TV or YouTube or wherever it is now, however you get famous nowadays, isn't it? And it's just like we've said it before as well. You're just far removed from them, and you just don't even think that they're a human being. But it's like, nah, that's still a person there. Some of them, end up going so far as like losing their way, losing their own shit, and then they are not a human being anymore. They think of themselves as like some sort of separate entity, and like because they're just that freaking famous. But no, you just realize actually there's a human there as well. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I could do some shit because I know that this person has a story, I have a story. All right, let's do some shit.
That's it. So it reminds me of that the Peterson thing that you talk about sometimes. Like, you've got to know that you're a monster. You've got to know that you've got to see that monster in you, and then you've got the choices to not be the monster. But you've got to visit the monster sometimes and be like, oh, okay, you're still down here. Like, you're shackled and you're chained and you're on the leash, like we talk about with the Who's Your song. But you've got to go there. This magician's going there with this is my monster. Like, watch this card trick. I'll make it freaking so sick that you won't believe your eyes, which is so legit, so cool. But then other people do the same thing with a barbell. It's like you watch any Olympic lifter, and you're like, how did you do that? That's just gymnastics, but you have a 200-kilo barbell on your hands. Like, what the hell? Like, that's not real. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't, like, that bar looks weightless, but it's definitely not. You know what I mean? It's not full of. It's not Jeff fake weights Cavalier. It's like, it's a real thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's super sick. You just cultivate that, whatever that is. Go and make it super legit, man. Yeah.
That's a good point to leave it, man.
Deal.
Go cultivate people. Grow your own farm.
Grow your own humans, and then make a spreadsheet. Make a spreadsheet. Man,
now we're going Matrix nightmare levels. Dystopia. It's like, no, that's not the way we want to end this.
No, that's definitely not. Oh shit! I just thought of something. Oh no, let's come back to that next week. No. It's a wormhole, bro. We can't do this. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna tell you after. Come off air. Then maybe we talk about it next week.
Sounds like a plan. Wicked, man. All right, be back. Thank you for tuning in, people. Find us on Instagram at Evolve Achieve Thrive. That's the handle. Send us a message. Tell us what you're thinking of the episodes, and we will catch you again next week.
See you later, people.